Happy New Year's, you guys.
Happy New Year's.
Welcome back to the B-List.
Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and a great Christmas or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or Ramadan is going great. Whatever.
Hopefully you didn't have to fist fight any of your relatives.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Not this year for me.
No, not this year.
Good year for me.
Yeah, it was a good year.
So yeah, it's New Year's already, 2025.
We're talking to you from the past.
Well, hopefully this year is going to go a little bit better than it did for us last year.
Yes, hopefully it goes a little more smoothly. What are we talking about today, Courtney?
We're going to talk about a great movie that takes place on New Year's Eve called Minutes to Midnight.
Not to be confused with the Linkin Park album, because I'm not a huge Linkin Park fan, but every time you look up this movie, that's what pops out.
That's what pops out. Yeah, I noticed that myself too. This one stars the great Billy Baldwin and
one of the many Baldwins.
One of the Baldwins and
second tier, I would say, not Alex top tier.
Yeah, Alex top tier.
Billy and Steven are like
next, yeah,
and
then you got Daniel.
Daniel's at the bottom. No one's worried about him.
Yeah, and it also stars the great Richard Grieco.
Richard Grieco, you guys. So if you've ever wondered whatever happened to him, now you know.
Now you know. Of course, this movie was released in 2018, so it's been a few years, but it has a runtime of about an hour and a half, and it's
pretty standard.
It's pretty standard. The director, Christopher Ray, was known for some great movies, such as Mega Shark vs. Colossus, Three-Headed Shark Attack, and Attack of the Meth Gator.
So this was his stray from the water people. Then he kind of strayed away from.
This takes place on land, and the writers, Victoria Dottie, I guess is how you say her last name. She wrote the greats such as Airline Disaster and 2012 Ice Age, and also co-wrote with Christopher M. Don, who wrote awesome movies such as Restricted Area and Witch Trials. All of which I'm sure you've heard.
I mean, who doesn't remember Meth Gator?
Right.
Ye old classics.
And I was trying to find any sort of information on this, and dude, this got 7% on the popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes, and didn't even get a tomato meter score.
Okay, so like the story is this, right? Like Courtney had found a movie that we were going to record, and I randomly looked up other like New Year's movies, and this one popped up, and it's not rated, starring Billy Baldwin and Richard Grieco. So I was like, immediately, we have to do this.
We have to do this.
I was scared going into it with no rating because I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Does it mean that they just didn't get? No one saw it.
No one saw it to rate it.
Not even gonna rate it.
Yeah.
So.
They didn't have any budget information on this. It didn't have box office because it was a straight to video release. It did
Which
not.
Makes like if there's no budget information, like how did they get like? Was the director a friend of like Billy Baldwin's and like Richard Grieco, and they owed him a favor? So it's like they're just gonna.
Well, the two of them haven't been getting like a lot of work lately, so they've been doing those like low budget
and like cameo appearances.
But yeah, a lot of stuff like on the Sci-Fi Network that they produce and stuff. They've been doing a lot of that kind of stuff, so they're still around and getting work. It's just not blockbuster work. But like I said, we've got Billy Baldwin. He plays Mr. Walters. We have Richard Grieco, who plays Sheriff Derek Wyatt, and I'll just probably call him Sheriff from here on out.
I literally have him as Richard Grieco in all of my Put some respect on his name.
Yeah. And then other names that we come across: Christopher Judge, Viva Bianca. Dominic Swain,
who's in stuff. Like,
yeah,
I know her,
but she's in this movie for like 30 seconds.
Literally 30 seconds, a blip of a part, and then she's
gone. We have John Hennigan, Bryce Draper, Sarah Fletcher.
Any of these people.
I didn't know. There's not much about any of these people. They all are kind of unknowns. Well, let's see. Sarah Fletcher, Macy Cuthard, Mercy Malik, Kaiwi Lyman, Jenna Sims, Aaron Aguilera, Jared Cohn, Philip Andre Botello, Heather Page Cohn, Scott Thomas Reynolds. I mean,
Are the Coens related, I wonder?
yeah. So there's a whole list of it. Again, this is one of those movies where it takes place within a party, and there's a lot of names, a lot of unknowns, and we're just going to go ahead and get into it, because if I tried to list what you might know some of these actors from, you would still not know what these actors are from.
You can look it up. You
can look it up on your own. It's on IMDb.
Yep. So, okay, so let's get started. So we start with a couple.
A beautiful couple.
Beautiful couple walking in the woods.
We learned that this is
They've got a
Emily.
picnic basket.
Yes. We learned this is Emily and Charlie.
Emily and Charlie. And she says, we shouldn't be here. This is where people were murdered.
This is where the murders took place. And then she was
I'm like, dude, why are you taking your girl on a picnic to propose?
To murder Woods.
To murder Woods.
Yeah. And she's all about the exposition. She's like, come on, guys. Or she says to her boyfriend, come on, this is where some boys murdered resort employees.
Yeah.
And the police never caught them.
Police never caught them, yeah.
We know that the police never caught them.
So, like, they get to the little picnic area, and he says, close your eyes, and he pulls out this ring box, and he says, open it, and it's an engagement ring, and
it's like this ginormous fake ring.
And he does the standard issue, Emily, whatever your middle name is, I love you so much, you're the light of my life, will you marry me? And she says yes, and...
They kiss.
But
then noises!
Scary music is afoot. And it tells you that there's something wrong.
There's something going on.
They hear something, and he says the bad thing. I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
And goes to investigate, and...
he finds, like, a rock.
A rock with a piece of paper.
It's, like in a bloody note that says, you're too late.
You're too late, with a little stick figure, like a drawing of people.
Like a Blair Witch Project type thing going. And then
it looks like it's probably done by a bloody small child.
Yeah.
Not great art.
Yeah, and
no great art in this in this entire thing. This whole thing could be called Not Great Art.
Not great art.
Not the film, not the art itself, none of it.
Yeah, and they use the wrong "your."
Yes.
So it's...
Not great with the English
You're
either.
too late.
Yeah. And then he hears Emily screaming, so he runs, but she's gone.
She's gone. And
she's running in the woods.
She's running off in the
and,
woods.
If you'll notice, some very sensible flats. That never happens.
Yeah, that never happens.
They're always in heels.
Well, maybe he told her they were going to the woods. Maybe he gave her that.
If you're going to be hiking, maybe like some boots would be better. But
right.
We'll settle for some flats.
Especially when you're going into murder woods.
And she trips over a booby trap, and she's stuck in this net, and you see a bad guy, and she screams.
Kind of a masked person. You can't really tell what they are.
And dude Charlie is shot in the leg with an arrow, and this dark figure hatchets him to death.
Yeah, hatches him.
So we're just a couple minutes in, and first death.
Yeah, that's a wrap on Charlie.
Wrap on Charlie.
And so then we kind of cut to like a short scene of human bones being cleaned,
bloody skulls, and
boiled, and and altered. So,
and he's drilling and sawing, and it's like a Dahmer art project.
I think that they were trying to allude that he's making art with it, but you never really see the art.
Well, later on, the bow and arrow is made out of a human rib cage.
Yeah, so is the axe. The axe is made out of like a femur.
They're gonna use what they hunted.
They're like the Native Americans. They use every part of the human.
Use every part. So
there's
that.
Yeah. So cut back to an office full of young people. In a small
town.
Yeah, small town, small mountain town.
These young kids are getting ready for a New Year's.
They're gonna party. Yeah. Yeah. They're playing with balloons and drinking beers.
Suddenly, there's Billy Baldwin in a sea of nobodies.
Mr. Walters.
We don't know not any of these people.
Never seen any of these actors before.
I recognize a Baldwin because he always looks like he's doing an impersonation of his brother Alec.
Yeah. Yeah. They all kind of do.
It reminds me of 30 Rock. When
he was on 30 Rock. Yeah.
Because he sounds just like him, and he looks like a younger version of him.
Yeah.
It's like if you can't afford the Alec Baldwin, get the Billy.
Get the Wish version, the
version.
TV version.
Yeah.
But yeah, he I was thinking, what is he doing movies like this? Because he was in some blockbusters and some really good movies like Backdraft.
He was in some
Sliver and all of that. So it's like
he's talented.
He's got experience.
Got the Baldwin chops.
But growing up in Alec's shadow is very hard, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mr. Walters walks in. And he hands Sophia some keys and tells her to lock up when they're done, and that she's doing a terrific job. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
and then he
Still
leaves.
giving off kind of a little creep vibe.
A little bit of a creep vibe, but I've had bosses like that are a little too friendly but harmless. Yeah. And so then we cut to
this hiker named Travis.
He's walking the streets.
Asking people if you've seen my brother, have you seen my brother, and
he walks up to Ranger Tasso and Tasso looks at the picture of Charlie and says, "We don't need bums pestering people.
When are you bums going to understand we don't need you around here?" He's just looking for his brother.
Yeah, he's just looking for his brother. You're just assuming that
he's
because
not
he's
homeless.
got a backpack.
He's wearing like a backpack and like hiking gear.
And he's got his phone with his brother's picture on it.
I said, man, don't go missing in this town. They don't give a fuck.
Right. And then enter in Mr. Richard Grieco himself. Sheriff Derek Wyatt.
And I'm like, he looks like an old woman wearing a Richard Grieco mask.
Yeah, he's had some work done.
His face is a little tight.
He's had some work done.
I realize my face is a little loose, but his face is a little tight.
Yeah, a little bit.
And he salutes Richard Grieco because they work together, I guess. And he's the sheriff.
Yeah. And Sheriff tells Ranger to ease down.
Yeah.
And Travis walks away. And he stops, and then Mr. Walters comes out and says, Travis shows him the picture. Mr. Walters says he hasn't seen Charlie either.
Yeah, he says he doesn't see Charlie, but it's
New
Year's Eve. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means anyway.
The magic of New Year's Eve?
Right.
Like Christmas?
Right. The New Year's Eve fairy will make your brother appear.
Okay.
And Charlie's been missing for 10 days at this point.
Yes. And you're going to remember this because Travis says this every time
you see him.
Which he's got his speech, I'll give it to him. And I'm just so glad that this town has a sheriff like Richard Grieco because he has previous law enforcement experience.
Undercover experience
experience with fresh-faced young cops.
Yeah.
So
21 Jump Street.
He used to work on the Jump Street, so we're really glad about that.
Yeah.
So cut to the gang. They're already celebrating New Year's and drinking, and it's 1,000% 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
Right.
It's still light out.
It's still light out.
And they're in their office.
But they're in their office. What do they do in this office? Do they ever say what they do in this office? They just work in an office. Maybe I'm just assuming because the lodge that they go to later is nearby. Maybe this is like a front office type sitch. Because they just walk to the lodge.
Why do they need all these kids working there?
I don't know.
Do all the kids work there, or is it just her? I don't know. Whatever. And I'm like, oh, hey, Michael's here. Michael shows up. Long lost to Michael, and not everyone's happy to see him like his best friend Kyle. Sophia's not happy.
Kyle's happy to see him. He's back from Hollywood.
Back from H-Wood.
H-Wood.
No one calls it that. Kyle.
Yeah. And so you can tell that there's history already with him and Sophia.
She has to talk to him.
She wants to talk to him in private.
Can we talk for a minute? Which everyone knows that couple.
Right.
They're going to make everything uncomfortable for everyone.
Right.
Oh my God, can I talk to you alone
Let's talk to you for a second. Anyway, so...
She's like, what are you doing here? And he says, well, he just wants his job back. And she's salty with him because he hasn't answered her texts in months. That's what I said. A little exposition tells us that they used to be a couple and he ghosted her.
Yeah, and he ghosted her. And he says he doesn't know what to say. He didn't know what to say. And she's like, we are not getting back together.
Never, ever.
Right.
Back to Tay-Swifting it. Like, we're never getting back together.
Right.
And she tells the group, like, let's go.
I got the keys.
Let's go to the lodging party.
Let's go to the lodge, the nearby lodging party.
It'll be safe. Let's walk. Because nothing says New Year's Eve like being half drunk and having to hike to a lodge.
And they're like, the trail is clear, so let's go. So there's a trail that you have to take to this lodge.
Yeah, and they're walking in the woods, and we hear the wheezy breather murderer watching them. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
I learned his name. I call him the wheezy breather.
Uh-huh.
Because he's like... And I think that means they might stand a chance because he has asthma.
Right. He doesn't move fast.
He can't move fast.
And so Vanessa...
Hiker Travis is also in the woods.
Yeah.
Really dramatically dodging and weaving.
Yeah.
Like a prize fighter in the woods, just randomly dodging between trees.
Yeah, I don't know what he's running to. He's
maybe
looking for Charlie.
But he's doing it real weird.
Yeah. And while they're walking to the lodge, Vanessa tells Sophia that she and Kyle invited Michael to come to this because they want them to get back together.
Which is a real dick move.
And she should give him another chance.
That's not down bitch behavior.
Yeah.
That's not being a bestie.
And
if you break up with your husband, I'm not inviting him to New Year's.
Right, exactly. That's just...
Snooze, you lose. You ghosted her.
Right. And then they invited some other friends, Chloe and Gabe, and they're going to meet them there.
Yeah.
But Chloe and Gabe cut to, they're lost on the trail.
It's Dominique Swain, you guys.
It's Dominique Swain.
I said Dominique Swain and boyfriend are here.
Yep.
And they're walking in the woods, and they're lost, and they can't figure anything out. But how would they know to go to the lodge? Because they just decided to go to the lodge.
Well, earlier they said, we'll call Chloe and Gabe and tell them to meet us there.
Oh, okay.
So,
I missed that part.
Yeah. And so they make out.
They start kissing, and the boyfriend is immediately shot in the butt.
They're both shot.
Yes.
They're both gut shot with an arrow.
It was just him, but it went all the way through them.
And then they both collapse, attached by this arrow, and die.
And then it cuts to, like, the hiker brother Travis is running in the woods, and he's caught by that same net trap. Mm-hmm. But he's got a knife, because he's prepared.
Yeah, he cuts through it.
Cuts his way out, and then he runs away.
Yeah. And he sees, sees, like, two masked figures before he's caught.
Yeah.
So he sees, like, two, like,
someone's out there
figures.
hunting
Somebody's
people.
Out there. And so that's what he's really going toward to investigate that, because he hears
something, and
he hears Chloe scream.
Yeah.
And then he's caught in the net and cuts himself out and everything.
Out.
And the bad guys are gone, but they are now again on the trail observing the kids going to the lodge.
Yeah, we see like wheezy breathers somewhere in the woods, like listening to the gang go to the lodge. And then, guys, hot friend Tiffany with an I is waiting for them. Who invited Tiffany with an I? Because it doesn't seem like anybody likes her.
It's the one dude, Richie, because he's all about her.
Okay, that's his name.
Richie.
I kept calling him drunk guy. Drunk asshole, drunk friend.
Right. The one that got drunk way too fast.
Way too fast. He's such a dick.
Yeah. And so Tiffany is waiting there for them, and the girls immediately just start talking trash. So you know it's not one of the girls that invited them. Because they're like, I heard that she slept with some dude named Justin and his father. It's like, so all right, go ahead and start to slut shame
Tiffany with an I.
Yeah. And so cut back to town. Sheriff and Ranger are talking about the storm that's coming in, and they need to set up a base at the lodge, because the last time the storm is going to get really bad, and they had a really bad storm before.
Is it a rainstorm? Is it a snowstorm?
They don't ever really say. They just keep saying it's a bad storm.
Why do you have to prepare the town for a storm? Can't people just stay home?
Right.
Are people going to be hiking? I mean, I guess these idiots were. But when you see the storm coming, you're not just going to go out hiking.
Well, and it's fun. They keep saying that the storm is coming, and the storm never really hits.
Storm never comes.
The storm never really hits in this movie, but there is like thunder and lightning at like the opportune times.
And random fog sometimes.
And random fog or smoke or something.
Yeah. It's a fog, smoke storm.
Right.
Rolling into town.
And so meanwhile, the youths are pouring the drinks at the lodge.
At the lodge, they're pouring shots, and the ladies
they're toasting. They're asking where.
And the hat guy, what's his name again?
The hat guy. Richie?
Drunk guy, Richie.
Richie
says, there's gnarly weather alert telling him to evacuate the area. And dipshit Kyle, throws his phone and tells him to stop being a pussy.
Right.
He's just trying to tell people about the weather.
Hey, the weather app just said we need to evacuate, but whatever. And so anyway, they disregard the weather report. But
whatever, we're here to party.
So night falls. And Sheriff shows up to the lodge.
Yeah,
and
Richard Grieco's at the cabin. And
they're all worried about getting caught. And Sheriff is just wanting to know why they're there. And he tells them to leave because of the storm. And they're like, we're not doing anything. It's New Year's Eve. And Sheriff was like, listen, guys.
He's like, you guys need to leave and go home. But it's a small town, so what difference does it make if they're at the lodge or they're at home?
Yeah, they're going to be safe
in
the
weather
lodge if they
only
can't
going
leave.
to be at the lodge?
Right. And then he tells them, hey, listen, kids, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Get out of here.
I'm talking to you as a friend.
I'm talking to you as a friend.
Oh, okay. He's not a regular sheriff. He's a cool sheriff.
He's a cool sheriff. Yeah. So there's like this cut to this like stone shack.
It's like a very square stone
building. Just like a shed of some sort, made out of stone.
It does look like a shed. But later he gives the address of the shed, so the shed has its own address?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
But we see Emily from earlier.
Yes.
From the Happy Couple.
Yes.
She's chained up in there, and she's watching some hillbilly type dude.
With long hair.
Pulling out his own teeth.
And then he tries to feed her half a piece of wheat bread because he's healthy. And she doesn't want it. And he takes a bite himself of the half a piece of wheat bread and then gives it to her. And she pretends like she's going to, and she bites him. And he laughs hysterically. And he's like, okay, now that I am nourished with my half a piece of white bread, it's time for me to do some bad art.
I need to do some art. So he
starts painting with both hands because he's ambidextrous.
And I'm assuming it's blood.
And he takes off his wig and he's smearing the blood everywhere onto paper. And I was like, oh, can't afford canvas, huh? Life of a starving artist.
Yeah.
It's just
because then he starts rubbing it on his face.
And he's rubbing his face on the paper.
And there's blood everywhere. But I mean,
could you imagine?
He's not bad. I've seen worse.
Could you imagine being locked in some guy's house, having to watch him make art for you?
Right.
When you're eating your shitty piece of wheat bread and having to watch him do art. Like, just kill me. Kill me now.
Yeah. And so we come back to the lodge again.
Back to the lodge.
So the girls are in one room, the boys are in the other, and they're both talking about how Michael and Sophia need to get back together. Like, okay.
And the dudes are looking at what's-his-face's picture of hot friend Tiffany with an eye on his phone, because he has a nude picture of her.
Yeah.
Which she's not interested, so how did he get that picture?
He's very inappropriate with this girl. But,
he keeps hitting on her and she keeps just rebuffing.
Right.
She's not about it at all.
Right. And then we cut to another New Year's Eve party all of a sudden.
Which somehow, I don't know how it even, like... Is this what they were talking about when the lodge people were murdered? Or are we talking about a long time ago?
Is it a flashback or is it something else happening here? There's no, like...
And I, watching this scene, kept looking for these people. Were these people at a different party another time? I don't know what happens, but all of a sudden there's this girl, and she for sure looks like she's a porn star.
Yeah, she probably
uncredited,
is.
But she definitely looks like a porn star.
Right.
And she's like, at New Year's, all your sins will be absolved. And I'm like, that's at confession. That's not New Year's.
Right.
You dumb bitch.
And then while they're partying, and this is a fancier party.
Yeah, she's wearing like a very
everybody's
glittery
wearing
outfit.
Sequins and everything. And so, I guess a dirty hand squeezes in the door and turns off the music or on the music.
Music up, different music, lights off, and
he messes with the stereo, but the lights go off.
Lights go off, and 3 killers come through the door and immediately start killing porn star and all of her guests.
Starts killing everybody.
Slaughter,
and there's a strobe light for some reason.
Strobe light. I thought I was about to have a seizure. I'm like,
I know.
This is the
I'm not
worst.
even epileptic, but I was about to have a seizure.
I was screaming at my boyfriend, like, how much longer is this?
Yeah, and you get to see some random boobies in the strobe light.
Random booby strobes.
Everyone is dying.
Weird blood. Everyone.
Every
time the light would flash on, it's a different death scene.
Death scene. Yeah, somebody's dying, and then it's done, and then you never see these people again. This was a 30-second to 1-minute scene, and you never hear about it. Never see them again.
Nope.
It's just a room full of dead people.
But back at the lodge, slutty Tiffany with an eye sneaks off to the boys where they're playing beer pong because, of course, she's got to get all the attention from the boys.
Right.
And she takes a pic with Michael against his will.
And then uploads
she's like, let's get a picture. And he's like, no, I'm all set. But she's like, no,
let's do it. Click.
And then immediately post it to social media because she knows what she's doing.
Right.
Girls like that know what they're doing.
Yep.
Starting shit.
And Sophia is all butthurt about it.
Even though she said, we are not getting back together. Do you not think we're getting back together?
Yeah. But then she goes and tells Tiffany, she's like, I told you that Michael is off limits.
Is he? Why? Because you don't want him?
You don't want him. You just told him you weren't getting back together. And then you've got Tiffany... Or not, I'm not Tiffany. You get Heather, she's like the innocent girl.
The curly girl.
The curly girl. Yeah, that's Heather. And she's pounding it, and they pull out some rum that makes her sick. And
so, of course, she starts puking.
Yeah, and so she gets sick, and Sophia tells Tiffany at that point to go to hell. So there's drama.
Yes.
And... then we cut to the Ranger.
Cut to Richard Grieco and Richard Grieco's buddy Tesso. I kept is his name Tassel? What is his name?
Tasso. Tasso, because I had to look it up. Ranger Tasso. That's why I just keep calling him Ranger. So Ranger's driving around the woods.
And he's saying on the radio, everything looks good, everything's clear.
Yeah. He gets a call from his wife, and he says, I'll be home soon, which you know.
I said,
he's not going to be home
horror
soon.
Movie trope. Don't say that.
Don't say it.
And he said he should be home in about an hour.
Yeah.
Famous and then, last words, see you soon.
See you soon. So he sees a sleeping bag.
It's like a sleeping bag in the
on
woods.
the side of the road, and he decides to investigate this empty sleeping bag.
It'll still be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be light. You don't need to stop.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he gets out to look at it, and there's like a bloody animal skull in it.
Yeah, at first I was like
a deer or a cow or something.
But it was like a cow or something.
Yeah, it's an animal skull, and it's bloody in the sleeping bag.
And he stands up and he sees Wheezy Breather. Wheezy Breather murderer standing there, and and Tasso says,
Go home.
I'm not going to write you up, just go home.
Yeah, there's a storm coming.
And then he literally gets the axe.
Immediately axed.
And
that's a wrap on Ranger Tasso.
Tasso. Richard Grieco's friend.
Yeah. And so back at the lodge now.
Sophia takes Curly's shoes off and gets her to bed.
Yeah. Heather goes to bed, gives her a puke bucket.
Puke bucket, which is the best of friends. They'll give you a puke bucket.
Yeah, so absolutely. Everyone out is still playing beer pong. And Vanessa is bothering Michael again about getting back together with Sophia.
Like, girl, let it go. Do you want to get back together with Sophia?
Yeah.
Like, why are you pushing so hard?
Right. And then they hear a noise outside, so Kyle and Michael go to investigate.
And it's Travis.
Looking for his brother Charlie.
Hi, I'm Travis so-and-so. I'm looking for my brother Charlie. Have you seen him? Showing the picture. And they said they haven't seen him, but come on inside and we'll ask the others. Yeah. You just invited a stranger into a house.
And they're like, you look like you could use a drink. Come on in.
You're looking for your missing brother. Come get drunk with us and party.
Right. And so, in the meantime, Heather, who was passed out in bed, wakes up and sees Wheezy Killer.
Wheezy Breather's sitting there, and he slices her in half, I guess, because holy guacamole, that's a lot of blood.
That's a lot of blood suddenly.
I watched it 3 times.
Yeah. And then something visceral falls out of her, but I can't tell. It looks like chicken legs.
And then more blood, and more blood on that. And then it shows her all cuddled up again with no blood.
She's not bloody.
Which is a continuity issue.
Yeah.
Because later on they show her and she's got blood in her mouth.
Yeah.
She did not have blood in her mouth just then.
No.
Whatever.
So Travis comes in. They don't hear any of this happening with Heather, of course.
They don't hear guts.
So Travis comes
on the floor.
Yeah. So Travis comes in, asks them all if they'd seen Charlie. None of them recognize him.
And Sophia's a little suspicious of like, who are you, Travis?
Yeah. You? And Travis is asking, why are you here? Haven't you heard of the murders that happened here?
And I'm like, how does this guy know more about this town than the people who work there?
I guess if he might have investigated it before he went to go find
Charlie. He's got that one piece of paper he's showing. See about these murders? This piece of paper that I have in my pocket.
Yeah, he's got like articles with him showing them.
Like 20 years ago, all these people died. Is that the party from before?
Yeah, 20 years ago. That's what I was trying to figure out, what that party was before, because they don't give you any sort of indication if it's a flashback or anything.
There's not even pictures of like the people who died. Like,
no.
It's porn star girl.
No, you never see them again.
And is porn star girl maybe... We'll get to it. Hang on. I have a theory. So.
Yeah. And so, he tells them that, several employees were brutally murdered and his killers were never found again. So they're creeped out, and Sophia and Michael go to check
They're going to check on Heather because she was sick, and they open the door and they're like, hey, you okay?
And she doesn't respond.
She doesn't move. It zooms kind of where you can see her. Her eyes are open and just blood's coming out of her mouth.
Yeah. And Michael...
Like, she's sleeping it off.
Yeah, Michael's like, just let her sleep it off, and they leave her alone, but,
I'm like, that's not really checking on her, you guys.
That's not checking on her.
She could have choked on her own vomit.
Right. She could be dying of blood poisoning.
She looks all right.
Yeah, she could have alcohol poisoning at this point, but whatever.
Right.
So the storm is rolling in, indicated by some claps of thunder.
Yeah.
And Travis is like, I gotta go.
They're trying to talk him into staying, like, hey, you need to stay here. And he says, this town is weird. And
there's weird stuff happening.
And he got caught in a trap.
I got netted.
And Kyle is the biggest dick, and he's like, it's New Year's Eve, man. We're trying to have a good time.
Yeah, you're harshing our vibe.
You're harshing our vibe, man.
So
sorry about your missing brother.
Yeah.
And your shitty hike. But
right.
we're trying to party.
So Travis leaves. And then we go back to town, and Mr. Walters, Billy Baldwin, gets a...
Yeah, Baldwin and Grieco are reminiscing about the last storm.
Yeah, he gets a visit from Sheriff. Sheriff's
apparently
super worried.
Baldwin's wife is dead, because they're talking about it. Her picture's there, and he tries to pour Grieco a drink, and tries to peer pressure him into drinking, and Grieco's like, no,
I don't drink anymore.
I got sponsorabilities now. I
Yeah.
can't be doing that kind of stuff
Right,
anymore.
right. There's people who
Apparently
depend on me.
He used to be a wild child.
Yeah, yeah. And so at that point he leaves. He was just checking on Mr. Walters, and then Mr. Walters calls Sophia
I
being
did
creepy.
say it is like Billy Baldwin and Grieco are in an overactathon and they're both winning.
It was like I was saying last night.
They both have this voice, or they kind of talk like this. And
Yeah.
things are so hard for me right now. I got responsibilities now. I can't be acting like this anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It really seems like this was an improv group that they gave a camera to, and it was like, you've got 24 hours to make a horror movie. Go.
Ready, go.
And they put this together.
Here are 5 themes you can use. And they're like, you know what? We're going to use all of them.
Yeah, yeah. we used all of them. So anyway, like I was saying, Mr. Walters calls Sophia, and we had said before he was kind of creepy.
And this is the creepiest fucking phone call.
And this is the creepiest.
I remember when you were a little girl.
Yeah, she's like, and he's like, if you get scared in this storm, you can call me.
He said it like 3 times. Don't hesitate to call.
Don't hesitate to
call.
call
Me later, you can. Don't hesitate.
And he was like, it just seems like yesterday that you were delivering Girl Scout cookies to me, and I watched you grow up, and it's just so creepy. Like,
and don't hesitate to call.
And don't hesitate to call.
And then when he hangs up, he's sitting by the window, not looking out the window.
Right.
He's just sitting there.
Yeah. He just looks out the window.
For too long.
Yeah.
For too long sitting
reflecting.
there.
He's reflecting. And so, again, the storm's getting closer by, thunder. And Travis finds the Ranger's abandoned truck.
Yeah.
And so he uses the radio to call Sheriff. And he's like, something's wrong. There's a lot of blood. There's footprints and drag marks. And the Sheriff says, stay put. I'm on my way.
He says, stay put. That means stay put.
Stay put. Just stay where you're at.
If you're wondering what stay put means.
Yeah, because
Grieco will teach you. He says, stay put.
Stay
means stay put.
I mean stay put. So he gets there, and Travis is gone. He did not stay put.
He's like, you're not the boss of me.
And the radio had been cut. The CB had been cut. So...
but then Travis comes out of the woods.
Travis comes out of the woods.
And he's like, hands up!
He just had to go take a piss. And then he
You just like tinkling right there on the open.
Yeah, yeah. And so... then that's basically where that scene ends. I guess that at that point they decide to team up because Ranger's missing, and
I will say they make a good team.
They make a great team.
It could have been a cop buddy comedy.
It could have. I hope that there's a spin-off.
Grieco, are you listening? Grieco, can you hear me? So back at the house, everyone's just hanging out, and Kyle and his girl Vanessa go off for a little pickle tickle.
Yeah,
and
Richie's trying to make a move on Tiffany with some mistletoe,
and it doesn't work. And she
shuts
says
him down.
Once again, she's not interested. And then he does like, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Spills drink all over.
Pours like an entire bottle of vodka on her.
Starts rubbing her boobs.
Yeah,
and she's like,
she gets mad, and she's like, "Your beard is gross," and then storms off.
Yeah, that'll hit a guy where it hurts. Tell him his beard's gross. So cut to the room where Kyle and Vanessa are making out in the bedroom and taking their clothes off.
And it gets way too graphic because they always do in these movies.
Completely naked, and they're having sex, which is the worst, quickest sex scene
It happens
I've ever
in
seen
less than a minute. She's on top. She gets off. That's
it. And she said she needs a cigarette, and I'm like, why, girl? There was no sex. You just need a distraction from that bad sex scene
you just moaned for about 45 seconds and it was over.
And he looks very pleased with himself.
He looks like he had a really good time. But
didn't even mess up her hair.
Yeah,
not a hair out of place.
No, neither one of them.
Neither one of them.
And so I guess is it her that goes out and
yeah, she needs to shower, so she puts on. I'm like,
she has to immediately shower.
She has to shower off the horrible memories of that horrible sex scene.
Yeah,
but drunk friend. What is his name?
Richie.
His name is Richie.
Yeah, Richie's in
the
one bathroom and
he's
then
gonna shave off his beard.
He's gonna shave off his beard because remember Tiffany just said his beard.
And then Tiffany with the eye is in the other bathroom, and she's gonna take a shower.
And she's gonna take a shower too. So there's some more gratuitous nudity. Way too long. You see her showering
because of course she is. But then she gets dressed real quick with flannel
with new clothes,
and the fucking ugliest boots I've ever seen in my life. They look like if Doc Martin and Mummy Edition went together.
Right.
There's so many straps, and she
hears a noise.
And there's a rat trap in the closet.
Yeah, there's
a rat in it.
There's a rat trap,
but of course when she stands up.
She fails to notice that
Wheezy Breather's
behind her.
He's very quiet.
Yeah, and
he went to the Michael Myers school.
He must have had his inhaler with him too, because he's not breathing so hard now. And so she moves on, not seeing him behind her.
So then Sophia and Michael are alone in the kitchen.
They're having another talk.
And
he up and left. And he's like, I always loved you. And
so suddenly they squash the beef.
So squashed. Now I guess they're back together again.
They hold hands.
They hold hands.
So then Kyle and Vanessa are getting dressed after their very meet. I'm like, what was even the point of this? Like, what was the point of the other scene?
It's all, the entire movie could have been over in 15 minutes.
So now she's just like, suddenly I don't need a shower all of a sudden?
Yeah, she just
like,
decided.
Tiffany with an eye is done with her shower. Yeah. Now you can take a shower.
Screw it. She's whatever. She's dressed
gonna,
now.
Like, jisms and all. She's just going to get dressed and
just
whatever.
Just going to do it.
So, yeah, but they see someone with a flashlight outside. Kyle is pissed.
Kyle's mad. He thinks it's Travis still outside with his flashlight.
And so he comes out, and Tiffany with an eye is like, hey, can I go with you? Because I'm bored. Because apparently, I guess she wants to see Kyle beat this guy to death with a baseball bat.
Yeah, he grabs a bat, and he's like, I'm going to tell this guy off and tell him to move on.
You're going to beat this guy to death for looking for his brother? I think Kyle's on steroids, guys. I think Kyle might be on the cocaine or something.
Right. So Tiffany...
There's an after-school special in here somewhere.
Control your anger, dude. And so he and Tiffany go out.
And he says, okay, whatever. Like, come with me.
Right. Okay, come on.
The dialogue. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever.
So Tiffany and Kyle go and they follow the flashlight back to that creepy stone shed or whatever, and go inside.
Shack baby. Murder shack baby. Sorry. The whole song in my head.
And it's abandoned at this point now, but they see the chains that was holding Emily still in there.
Yes.
And there's like some dead birds.
And there's a backpack in there, and they think it's Kyle's backpack.
They think it's Travis's backpack.
Oh, Travis, not Kyle.
Yeah. And so he starts going through the backpack, and Tiffany's like, I'm waiting outside.
And of course, she drops her phone.
On the way out. And of course, as the minute she gets outside, she's like,
the murder girl
met face to face with a lady killer in a mask.
We'll learn her name is Calypso.
Yeah.
Very weird that these...
Yeah.
The names on these guys are...
Right.
Okay,
and so when Kyle goes out to see where Tiffany's at, she's gone.
And it's really foggy, just right there outside the murder house.
Just outside the murder shack is where...
Foggy Murder Shack.
Fog is rolling in.
That's the name of our band. Foggy Murder Shack. I'm calling it.
Yep. It's real folksy.
Very folksy. We're a folk band. And so, cut to Grieco and Travis are now at the murder shack.
And they're looking for the ranger, and they can't get anybody on the radio for backup, so they go in. And apparently the shack has a cellar, too.
It has a cellar. It's the tiniest shack.
Tiniest shack, but it has a cellar.
A cellar, which is where all the creepy painting goes on.
Yeah.
And the artwork.
And they find a room full of body parts.
Yeah, body parts and blood.
And the little hillbilly from earlier, with the long-haired wig, he's making his art, and his name is Gimple? Gimple with a P.
Gimple and Calypso and
Gimple
Angus.
and Angus is the heavy breather.
Yeah.
And
That's
Sheriff...
like a weird name, like who... I'm not saying that the mom deserved to die.
Right.
I'm just saying
I don't know anything about that.
Names for her kids.
Yeah. And the sheriff sees him and he says, oh, Gimple, I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
And he's like super calm at being around all of these heads and feet and legs.
Yeah.
And it's all hanging around him. He's like, oh, I thought you were dead. Like,
so I'm like, oh, so Grieco knows him.
Yeah, so Grieco knows him.
And Travis and Grieco get into a slow-mo fight with the two murder boys.
Yeah.
And Travis apparently knows karate moves because he is chopping necks left and right, throwing those elbows like Christina Aguilera in the early aughts. He is just elbow.
Yeah. And
karate chop to the neck.
Yeah. And before they start to tussle, though, Travis is like, where's my brother? And Gimple says, it's not my fault, it's the sheriff's. It's time for the sheriff to take responsibility. Justice is calling. So, he says, justice is calling after what the sheriff and the ranger did to his family. Him and his brother Angus and his sister Calypso. And it was no prank.
Were you
it was
call her
sickening.
Calypso?
Calypso. I'm Calypso the clown. But Sheriff was like, we were just kids. And Travis was like, dude, where's my bro?
Yeah, Travis is like, so sorry to interrupt.
And that's when Angus comes in. Angus is the heavy breather.
Wheezy breather is
comes in with his mask, and he's swinging and chopping, and then there's a slow-mo brawl.
The slow-mo brawl,
All four of them are the slow-mo.
Prematurely talked about the brawl.
Well, it was an exciting slow-motion brawl.
I'm gonna randomly kick you. Like, it's the weirdest. It's like they were like, do you know capoeira by any chance?
Right.
Slow-mo karate dance fighting?
Let's have our dance fight right here.
Dance fight right here.
And so Travis ends up hitting Angus with
like
a candle
or something.
Yeah, and Sheriff is able to shoot Gimple.
Gimple in the kind of side area.
Yeah, and I guess he dies because he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And then Travis runs away with Angus following him, and they brawl again slow-mo outside.
And Travis just straight up beats him to death with a rock.
And then hits him in the head.
To death with
just
a rock.
Beating him in the head with this large rock, and then he kicks him down a hill.
And he goes back for the sheriff, and
Sheriff is locked in the room.
He says he's locked in the room. How are you locked in the room?
I don't know.
Y'all just went in before?
Yeah, you guys just did Angus lock the door behind him before he ran after Travis?
I said they just got in to this room. So he's like, let me kick it open.
So Travis kicks open the door, and there's Sheriff with a dead Gimple.
And Grieco tells Travis to go save the kids of the lodge. I would say that's not my job.
Yeah.
I'm just here to find my brother.
He tells the sheriff Angus has been taken care of.
He's been taken care of.
And then he said, and Sheriff is like, there's one more.
The threat's been neutralized.
Yeah, the threat's been neutralized. And Sheriff tells him there's one more, meaning Calypso. And he says, go to the lodge where the kids are staying. He's going to go get backup.
Yeah.
So back at the lodge, Sophia...
And when I say this man takes his sweet time getting
he does.
Backup.
Yeah, this is a really small town. They must be way out in the mountains, but...
Because they're protecting people from the storm.
Yeah, I guess so. Whatever.
So at the lodge, Michael and Sophia, they're fine now. Apparently.
They're fine. They're back together.
And the lights kind of flicker and go out. And they got to find the generator.
Yeah, Richie was still in the bathroom shaving because Tiffany didn't like his beard. So he's upset that the lights went out.
Yeah, and Vanessa puts on a robe, and he says he's going to shave his face and his balls, and he's going to have some anal babies tonight. I was like, why is this guy still alive? Somebody killed this guy.
Yeah, right. And so
Vanessa goes with Michael and Sophia to go find the generator.
Right, she gives.
But she's still in her robe and undies.
Yeah.
Put some clothes on, girl. You've had time.
Yeah.
It's taking you longer to get dressed than it took you to have sex with the guy.
Yeah. Right. I know. But anyway, she goes out to the shed where the generator is with Michael and Sophia.
Yeah.
And while they're out there trying to start the damn thing, Richie
back
is...
at the house, Richie...
he's trying to finish shaving in
but
candlelight.
He sees Angus.
And Angus shows up. And Richie thinks it's Michael at first. But then...
Michael, what the hell?
What the hell?
What
but then,
doing,
guess what? He gets axed.
Axed to the shoulder neck.
Axed,
shoulder neck area.
Shoulder neck area.
Neck,
yeah.
shoulder. This muscle here,
yeah,
guys.
Right here. Gets it.
Where everyone wants to be shashed.
Yeah.
Massage right there. Just a neck.
He was getting rid of some knots in his neck right there.
So the generator starts up, and suddenly there's Kyle, and he's asking, have you guys seen Tiffany with an eye?
Where's Tiffany? She disappeared. And so they go back inside. They can't find her. The lights start flickering again.
Because no one checked the gas gauge.
Because no one checked the gas gauge.
And then Michael says, is there a gas gauge? Like, why would it...
Come on. You didn't check for that before you left.
If it's something that needs gas, surely there would
You're
be
gonna
some
check.
kind of gauge on it. Yeah. So they have to go back out.
So, yeah. So Sophia and Michael go back out
and
to
Vanessa
check the gas.
and Kyle are having another drink because they're going to get back to that 30 seconds of vigorous lovemaking.
Right. They decide they're going to get it on again.
But
then there's noises. Kyle thinks it's Travis again. Angus busts through the door with a lot of smoke and fog for some reason.
Lots of smoke in the building. And he kills Kyle with a...
Bashes up Kyle.
Skull weapon?
So, one of his weird weapons. And Vanessa runs, but she trips. And Angus is coming after her. And now Calypso is there now, too.
Yep, there's Calypso.
And they corner her, and Calypso slashes her neck.
Stabbed in the neck.
So, Michael and Sophia, who heard Vanessa screaming... grabs a machete from the shed.
Smart enough to at least grab a weapon.
Yeah, and they go running back into the lodge. And they call out for their friends. Yeah, nobody's answering them.
And then there's their friends hanging from...
It took not very long for them to string up all these friends, but there they are, all strung up.
I figure they probably have experience.
Maybe, yeah. And so Calypso comes slow walking after them, and they run. And they find Travis standing over Heather's dead body.
Yes.
And he's like, it's not what you think, but Michael attacks him anyway. And they fight.
And then Travis gets bowed by Angus.
Yeah, he gets shot in the chest
with an arrow
by Angus, who steps in. And Calypso comes in swinging. And then Sophia runs out of the room, past her hanging dead friends, or her dead friends.
Hide in a closet.
She hides in a closet with the machete. Yeah. She hears the footsteps getting closer, and then Angus busts through the door.
These guys are so good at like
they're so strong.
The Hawaiian Punch guy just punching right through everything. Not
the Kool-Aid man.
Kool-Aid man. Kool-Aiding man through everything.
Yeah, yeah. And
I feel like they go to some special school where they learn how to like.
Right.
Chop through doors.
Right.
Punch through walls.
Michael Myers.
Yeah!
Didn't we discuss?
Do it very quietly.
Yeah.
The Michael Myers Academy.
The Michael Myers Academy. Yes. Didn't we discuss that for Halloween 3?
We did.
So Sophia slips past Angus and runs, but slips in blood, hitting the floor.
Yeah.
And Angus picks
her up by her hair, man.
Yeah.
He just like...
And holds her up.
He's not choking her. He's just holding her up.
Yeah, he's just holding her up. And then she screams, and then everything fades to black.
Cuts to she is tied up in the murder cellar.
In the murder shack.
Murder shack.
And she's tied up to a chair. She
wakes up, she's freaking out, and Angus comes in and wheezes all over her.
Yeah, and he's throwing things around the room, making him, and she's scared.
So he drags her to the creepy cellar and grunts at her.
Yeah, grunts at her.
He has a very like Leatherface quality.
Yeah, yeah. Again, they were trying to squeeze a bunch of tropes into this. Yeah. And so he drags her chair into the body room, and wait a second.
Who's there?
Mr. Walters.
Billy Baldwin.
He's there. And he says to Angus, Happy New Year, son.
What?
What? I got you something special. All sorts of goodies.
He crumbles this muffin in his little tiny Baldwin hand and starts eating. I got you this.
And starts eating it.
That's so rude. I got you this muffin, Courtney. Let me eat half of it with my dirty fingers.
In front of you. So, yeah, okay. So now we are to believe...
Exposition.
That Mr. Walters is Angus.
Has 3 grown adult children.
And Gimple looked like he was close to his age.
Gimple's 50, if he's a day.
Yeah. And so these are all his kids, Calypso, Angus, and Gimple.
To be fair, Baldwin's aged gracefully because they've got that head of hair on them.
They do, but I still don't buy it.
Because Grieco was supposed to have been their age, right? Like
Grieco is 2 years younger than Billy Baldwin.
She did the math.
I did the math. I looked it up. Currently, Mr. Grieco is 59. Billy Baldwin is 61. So they're very close in age. And then we're supposed to believe that now Mr. Walters has 3 adult children that Sheriff is the same age as.
Because like they all made fun of these kids in school.
And so I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I'm calling shenanigans, but
yeah, shenanigans.
Anyway,
back at the lodge, Travis is a beast because he straight up just pulls that arrow out of his chest and he wakes up and
yep.
Then Angus back at the cabin is throws the girls inside and Travis he's pulling the arrow out and he does the old like whiskey and duct tape trick.
Yeah.
Or as my family likes to call it, healthcare.
Right.
Cut to Michael is tied up at the murder.
Yeah. And they also tell Mr. Walters tells Sophia also that he'll take off her gag as long as she doesn't scream.
And she says okay.
But it wouldn't matter because nobody can hear her. And then he goes and he tells Angus to go get the others. And then Sophia's like, "Why, Mr. Walters? Why?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hold that thought." And then
hold that thought. We gotta wait for the audience.
We gotta wait for the audience to absorb all this. So in the meantime, Travis patches himself up. He's not dead. Tiffany is brought into the shack with Sophia.
Yeah,
so they bring in Tiffany. Tiffany's still alive.
So then Billy Baldwin has this 15-minute hourglass.
Yeah.
Did he have to order that special?
Michael wakes up because he's tied up and he's calling for Sophia. They hear him alive in the other room. They bring in Emily.
Yeah.
Which is from the couple from the beginning. And then they reveal, of course, that Charlie is dead.
Travis's soon-to-be sister-in-law.
Yeah.
But not because
not anymore because brother's dead. But then this is where Mr. Walters has that stupid hourglass.
An hourglass thing. And I was like, who has a 15-minute hourglass?
Yeah. And then he gives Sophia a bottle of whiskey.
You better drink all this.
And says that she has 15 minutes to finish the entire bottle. And please note, it's minutes to midnight. Whoa, it's the title of the movie.
And she's
like...
Is it 15 minutes to midnight?
It's just I don't know. Did he time this? Did he time this 15 minutes to midnight, or is it just minutes to midnight? Anyway, whatever.
What if he told his kids, okay, you guys have all day to get all these people ringing
You have to be back here at 11:45.
Otherwise the joke won't land.
It just won't land.
Write all new material.
We'll have to wait until next year.
So he tells everyone his wife died because a building collapsed on her when she was saving her kids on a prank at New Year's that Grieco did this prank.
Yeah. So apparently Grieco and Ranger had chased his kids into a condemned building. His wife Lori went to go protect them.
His wife wasn't the porn star from
No.
before. That has nothing to do with anything.
No.
God
But
dang it.
the wife goes in to protect her kids. The building collapsed.
Collapses,
Wife
the kids-
died. The
kids-
kids were disfigured.
And he says, Angus, take off your mask and show him.
And he's just kind of scratched up. He's not really all that disfigured.
He's got kind of a little bit of a hamburger meathead thing going on. It's
Yeah,
a little
but
bit,
Put some Neosporin on it. It'll be
It's not
fine.
as bad as Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
It's
it
not that
was.
bad.
It's not that bad.
But apparently it's so bad that Sophia starts barfing.
Yeah, and
And
they
I'm like, Sophia, you aren't helping your case, girl.
right. And so in the meantime, she's chugging this whiskey, and saying, "I can't. I'll die." And he's
You're
like,
gonna die?
"I'm gonna
You're
kill."
like, it's not even a full bottle.
Right, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill one of your friends if you don't finish this."
Yeah.
So finish that. And so everyone thought that Angus and Calypso and Gimple died in the shack or in the abandoned building.
Nope.
And it was just now, 20 years later, revealed that they weren't, even though they've been killing
he's just been
every
hiding
year.
these kids in like a murder cabin.
Yeah, and then Mr. Walters reveals that this is a yearly thing that he does to get rid of the youth that contaminates their community.
But if you don't have youth in your community, it's just the old people.
I know.
Die off.
And Sophia is not the innocent thing he once knew, and she's just like the degenerates that picked on his kids. So this is his.
Though?
This
She's
is his
literally
motive.
saying she can't drink the alcohol. Is she really a degenerate?
Is she really that bad? But
Something tells me if it was Tiffany with an eye, she would have
yeah,
just...
yeah. And so Sophia almost finishes the bottle in time,
But
but she's only got a few sips left, and so he asks her to choose which friend dies, and she's, don't make me choose. I can't.
So then he says Angus choose somebody, and Angus chooses to kill Tiffany with an eye.
Lops her head right off.
Chops her head clean off.
Yeah.
One slice.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
then
he's playing Fruit Ninja. That
right.
thing just fell right off.
It just fell right off. And then Mr. Walters goes to kill Emily next, which isn't really one of her friends, so she's probably, I don't care, but whatever. But Sophia stops him and says, pick me.
Pick me.
And just when he goes, Mr. Walters himself goes to chop off her head. Travis bursts in.
Guns blazing, says, hey. And then he starts...
He shoots Mr. Walters in the neck.
Yep.
He wings Angus.
He unties Michael.
Unties Michael. He slow-mo fights with Calypso.
More slow-mo fighting.
More slow-mo fighting. She drops the knife. He picks up the knife. He cuts down Michael, who then Michael fights Calypso.
Uh-huh.
Travis fights with Angus.
And
slow-mo.
Angus beats Travis with a severed arm.
Yeah.
He crafted all of those tools from bones, but
Yeah.
he chooses the severed arm to try
Right.
and beat Michael to death, or beat Travis to death with.
Right. Michael ends up stabbing Calypso. Travis knocks out Angus again. I guess this time for good. And then
That's what we think.
It's what we think. And then Emily breaks free and axes Mr. Walters to death. And then the survivors all go to leave, but then finally Sheriff shows up.
Yeah. Michael helps Sophia and the fiance, and they all hug, and they hug Travis. And yeah, now here comes Grieco with the fucking cops.
Yeah, he's there with backup finally, but who cares? They all take the survivors out, but wait. Angus is still alive.
Angus gets up with his bone axe, and Grieco rushes to shoot him, and he gets axed in the neck.
He gets axed in the neck.
And the officers say, Sheriff, you okay?
Sheriff, you okay?
No,
Angus,
guys, he's chopped in the neck pretty bad.
Yeah. You do hear one shot get off, so I guess he shot Angus at the same time he got chopped in the neck. And then, guess what happens next? Credits!
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. It's like the most abrupt ending ever. Grieco gets chopped. Credits.
Hey, Sheriff, you okay? The end.
Yeah. Hey, Sheriff, you okay? The end.
Is Sheriff okay?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the sequel. Is there a sequel? We'll have to find out. I doubt it.
Not.
I really doubt it.
It's called Minutes to Groundhog's Day.
It's minutes after midnight.
Minutes after midnight. Minutes to Valentine's Day. Hours to President's Day.
A few months till Christmas. So.
Hour and a half of this movie, my life is ruined now.
Right.
I joke. But it honestly, so Courtney watched it first, and then I was starting to watch it, and she was texting me about it, and she's like, oh my god, this movie.
This movie, come on.
And I was like, is it that bad? We can pick something else. And she's like, no, you have to see this.
You will watch this
You
damn
will watch
movie.
this fucking movie. If I had to sit through it, you have to sit through it. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad I did. It
was so bad it was fun.
If you're looking for a really authentic B-list horror movie situation,
it's a good time.
It's
a good time.
It's something you can sit with your friends with and make fun of.
Just rip the whole hour and a half on it.
It's what we built this podcast on.
Yeah.
It's
this
terrible.
is our bread and butter right here.
This is our bread and butter.
So.
Although no one's giving us bread or butter for it.
Well,
maybe a half a piece of wheat bread.
The half a piece of wheat bread fed to you by Gimple.
Or half a crumble muffin in your mouth. Crumbly
chocolate chip muffin. There you go.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody has a great new year.
Hope you guys enjoyed this.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Tell your friends about us.
Tell your friends about us.
This is so funny and so fun to do, and we're just gonna keep doing it.
We're gonna keep doing it regardless.
Yep.
But
so
anyway,
there's your threat for the new year.
There's your threat for the new year.
We're not stopping anytime
soon.
soon.
Hope it's better than last year. All right.
We'll see you guys later.
See you guys later. Love you guys.